It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Well, my friends, we're continuing the series on learning who's running for office and why you should vote for them. Luzerne County, you know, the judgeships, there's 2 positions open, and we have a series of people coming on the Sam Lesante Show, letting you know about them and why you should put them in a judgeship. Today I'm very happy to have Judge Kokura on our show, Alexandra Kokura. I like Alexandra, I told you that. And she is looking to be your judge in Luzerne County May 18th. Before I talk to you about, you know, your experience, etc., I have here yellow pages, and there are 19 pages of attorneys here, okay? And I'm sure all these attorneys, Judge, are good attorneys. And they all have slogans, they have their pictures, etc. But what do you know about them? Okay, so you could put your picture on billboards and you could put, you know, but what do they know about Judge Kokura? Okay, and that's where I think television and good exposure, people get to know who you are. So first of all, welcome on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you to your audience.
Yeah. Now, tell me about Judge Kokura, because your name is Alexandra Kokura Kravitz,
That's
right?
right.
Okay, and tell me about you and a little bit about your family.
Sure, absolutely. Well, as you said, I'm Alexandra Kokura Kravitz. I'm the magisterial district judge for Lower Luzerne County and Greater Pittston, but I'm also a mom and a wife. I have 2 young sons. We live in a small borough in northern Luzerne County where we've been raising our family for the last you know, our older son is 5, our younger son is 3, and my husband and I have lived there for a little over a decade. We live in the home that I grew up in. So I've lived in this community my entire life, and I'm very proud to be part of this community.
You made a decision to run for district magistrate. Why did you do that?
Back in 2013, I was employed with actually Lackawanna County, the Lackawanna County judicial system, and specifically in the family court division. I was serving as a special court master, and what that means is I was actually hearing and deciding initial custody cases between families as well as child support matters. So when there was an opening in my hometown for district judge, I felt that that experience would translate well to serving in the magisterial district judge capacity in my own community. And also at the same time, I was chairwoman of the youth aid panel, which was through the district attorney's office in Luzerne County. And what that did was, it was a diversionary program for first-time juvenile offenders. So it really opened my eyes to understanding what diversionary programs could do to young people that may have stepped off track but wanting to get back on track and not necessarily having to have any kind of record pursue them, you know, through the rest of their adult lives. So I was simultaneously doing that work with families, and I was interested in bringing that experience, you know, to the judgeship in my own community.
All right, let's talk about that special master, okay? And what does that mean? Because there's a lot involved there, isn't there?
There is, and you know, it's important for your audience to understand, and that's partially why I'm running for county judge as well. I believe that you need, or you should have, a deep understanding of the law, you know, good knowledge of the law, but also a really strong understanding of the way the court system works and the judicial system as a whole. Special masters are appointed for certain initial actions in the judicial system, and they help to keep the cases moving. They try to help settle matters that may not necessarily need to go through the entire judicial system. So, you know, in that role as a special master, although it was complex, I saw a lot of cases that we were able to resolve at that initial level so that families didn't need to go through the entire system. And it really set the foundation for me to have a lot of experience in the courtroom.
Then you have here as chairwoman of the Pittston Area Youth Aid panel. What is that?
And that was back in 2013 when I first ran. That was a juvenile diversionary program for first-time offenders. What we did was, someone that may have had a citation that was underage or something like that, they would come into a panel comprised of community members, and we would try to work out an agreement wherein that particular juvenile would do either a combination of community service or tutoring, whatever was going on in that person's life that brought them to the judicial system. And if they were able to help complete that, we would help draft a contract. If they were to complete that contract successfully, the district attorney's office would expunge that record. And what it did is it really gave first-time juvenile offenders for low-level offenses an opportunity to, provide accountability, but then be able to move on with their lives. And I was really proud to be a part of that program.
Judge Kokura, running for judgeship is a serious position.
Very.
And you could have, as you're doing now, as a district magistrate, you affect many people's lives. If you were out there and you're a voter and people have their daily things to do and they don't have time to really spend 4 hours seeing who they're going to vote for, via my show, at least they get an opportunity of who you are. What should they look for in a judgeship?
Sure, absolutely. And I'm very grateful to you for providing this opportunity. As you said, television allows us to go in people's living rooms and into their homes and introduce ourselves. So it's very important where we may not be able to get to do that, especially now. As you know, it's just probably been the toughest year for a lot of people.
You can't knock on 1,000 doors like you did when you ran before.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, having this opportunity to be in people's homes and be able to meet them a little bit and have them get to know me is really tremendous. So I appreciate it. But what they should know, and what I hope that they're looking for, is experience. I have just a lot of experience in the courtroom. So since swearing my oath in 2014, I'm proud to say, and the state gives us our records every year. We average about 6,000 cases closed a year, and that goes right from your basic traffic matter to complex civil matters, as well as very serious criminal matters, domestic violence issues. So there's a plethora of things that come before a magisterial district judge, and it's really important, I think, for people to understand that I listen to everyone. I apply the law in a fair and impartial manner. Sometimes you need to be firm, and that's part of the job, but you're always making sure that people's rights are protected, and we're also always trying to ensure the safety of the community. And that's something that I've been doing across the board, for the last almost 8 years. And having that kind of experience, I hope, will translate well to the Court of Common Pleas.
What were some of the interesting cases that you had as a district magistrate?
Well, it's there's.
I'm sure you got tons of stories, but some of the things that where you really have to play judge.
You do. Well, you're not playing judge; you are a judge. So there are serious criminal matters that really come before you, and the safety of the community while applying the law and making sure that the Constitution is protected is a very serious endeavor, and I try to do that every single time that I'm on the bench. That's my job, and I'm proud to do it. I think that the people that elected me trusted me to do that, so that's wonderful. There's also, though, some good things that we do. When I started, way back when, school attendance was a huge issue, and trying to revamp a little bit of how we approach school attendance and truancy matters is a little bit of a source of pride for me. Now what we have done in the last few years is, families get a citation for failure to have compulsory school attendance, and I've been holding those hearings at the school. And the reason I've been doing that is because then we can invite all of the stakeholders. So it's not just the person that filed the citation, the officer, and it's not just the family and the judge hearing the case, but we also have a program called Parent and Student Success that are invited to participate, guidance counselors. Sometimes the students' teachers are involved, and what we try to do there is really take a problem-solving approach. So that's a bit of source of pride, and that's something I wanted to talk to you about. Luzerne County is diverse and sophisticated, and it's just not a one-size-fits-all court anymore. We have the resources to be able to use different types of programs to address the needs of the community, and school attendance is just one of them. But there's also a mental health court, and we do deal with some substance abuse issues as well. And we try to guide people through resources that may be available, where substance abuse has brought them to the criminal justice system. So it's something that I've really become amenable to in taking a problem-solving approach, because not everything is always the same. Not every case is the same.
The interesting thing about when you're going to court, and people, I think judgeship is a very serious position.
It is.
Because you may not need the courtroom today, but God forbid something happens in your life, and you want to make sure you go in front of a person that's hopefully fair and honest, because you have. Sometimes when we were in college, when you got your list of, you got Mr. Lesante, he's tough, or you have Miss Oshiba, or
sure.
you start gaining a reputation. So, you're young, so the experience factor comes in.
Absolutely.
Okay, and so what do you, my partner and I, John Morato, many years ago, we were 18 years old when we started the piano and organ business, and people, they're kids. Well, we learned a lot because we gained experience in different areas. But for getting to the judgeship, what they say when, my God, she looks like she's a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this, the first time when I ran, you're knocking on doors and people will joke, are you old enough to vote, let alone run?
That's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
Yeah,
It's not a bad thing, so I'll take it as a compliment. But, don't be fooled by that. The job is very serious. And it's serious because there's a trust between the people that placed you in that position to be able to make fair, just decisions, not only for the people that come in front of you, but that affect the entire community. And I've been doing that, and that's what I will bring to the bench as well. And I was first elected in 2013 and re-elected in 2019 without opposition. So for me, that was a little bit of a reassurance that the people trusted me to do the job.
You love what you're doing, don't you?
I love it.
Yeah, you can tell the passion.
Yeah.
Okay, and I always, when I'm interviewing people that are in their positions, I always like to find out what kind of substance they have. Because when people run for office, sometimes all of a sudden they become active in a lot of activities.
Sure.
Okay, and I got to do this, but what did you do before you thought you were going to run for office? So. Tell us a little bit of some of the things you've been involved with as Alexandra Kokura Kravitz, okay,
sure.
as the individual, civilian out there.
Yeah. Well, I volunteered firstly with the Youth Aid Panel because I felt that there was a need to be able to participate in that diversionary program, which provided really good outcomes for young people. And then later on, I volunteered at our church. I love to lecture at our church. It's a source of comfort for me and a source of pride. I really enjoy that. I participate in our Lions Club, our local active Lions Club. And since having children, we've been doing, some fun sports activities and getting involved in youth sports as well. So it's been great.
And your husband's an attorney, right?
He is, yes.
So how many times are you sitting at the table and you don't agree on certain things? I'd like to be the fly on the wall here. What's going on between the Kravitzes,
Yeah.
And I remember, and you always hold the thing, remember, I'm the judge.
Well, between a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, sometimes that line doesn't work, right? But just a regular family like anybody else. This year was really tough. I think it was tough for a lot. It was tough for everybody. Tough on healthcare, first responders, teachers. Think about all of the other families that are out there that are struggling. We were no different. We all had to adjust. And I think at the end of the day, sometimes it's good to just put work aside and say we're a family. Let's talk about what's important to our family. How did our regular day go? And just make sure that we're in tune with each other.
Judge, in life, sometimes it's, whether you're in business or you're getting married, a spouse, it's who you surround yourself with. And it's important, particularly in business. You want to surround yourself with people. In some cases, if you're going in a different area and acquiring a business, you want to get someone who knows more about that than you do,
right.
Because that's what you're all about. Perot used to do that. So in your case, you don't have all the answers, all right? So what do you do when you have a case and you have to say, okay, I have to deliberate or whatever? I mean, what do you do in terms of getting the right information you need to make a right decision?
Absolutely, and that's a great question, because here's the thing. When you're a judge, you don't know what's coming in front of you, right? You have no idea. And as a county judge, you won't know what's coming in front of you, what kind of cases you may have. The best and the most that you can do is ensure that you are applying the law to the facts of the case. So a good judge, I believe, in my opinion, is someone that's balanced, that listens to everyone, that hears the facts, and then they do their due diligence in applying the law. So whether that be research, listening to the attorneys, reviewing briefs, however that may come to you, is as long as you're absorbing the information and you're treating it in a fair and impartial way, you're applying the law, ensuring the rights of everyone that's in the courtroom to come out with a just decision.
Folks, I'm talking to Judge Kokura. She's a district magistrate, and she's looking to be your judge in Luzerne County. When we come back, I want to talk about the media and how will that affect a decision of a judge, and also some important things. Remember, you may not be involved in something that you have to be in court, but if you do, you want to make sure you get a person who really will give you a fair look at things, okay? We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. Remember, 24/7, ssptv.com. You can watch all of our shows, 21 shows, the local neighborhood programs we produce here at Samson Productions, ssptv.com. And remember, I appreciate the comments. All of you are thanking us for the masses on weekends and the rosaries every day. Appreciate that very much. My guest today is Alexandra Kokura Kravitz. She is known as Judge Kokura. She's a district magistrate judge, and she's looking to be your Luzerne County judge. The media today, Judge, sometimes, you know, you get headlines of a person who did this, and this, and there's all kind of, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Now they come in front of you. How much of the press would influence your decision as a Luzerne County judge?
None of it. That's not your job. When you're a judge, that's just not your job. Your job is in the courtroom, not outside of the courtroom. It's what comes in front of you, what's presented in front of you, hearing both sides of the matter and applying it fairly to the law that's before you, whatever it may be.
So I'm a juror, okay, and I really don't want to be there, but I'm a juror and I'm there, okay, and now the judge comes out and the judge talks to us. What do you tell those jurors? You know, jury duty is one of the most honorable things that a citizen can do, because having a jury trial of your peers is part of who we are, you know, as a country, really. And you know, not everybody has the system that we have across the world. So this is a really important duty and a really important position if you are selected to be a juror. And I would always compliment a juror if I were in that position. I would thank them for their service. I would express that it is a very serious position to be in, and to try to understand exactly what's going on. It's important, if you had any questions, to make sure that you address them. But yeah, I would just applaud them for their service. I think doing a jury duty service is probably one of the most rewarding things that you could do as a citizen. Being human as we are, we sometimes make mistakes. Sure. Okay, and sometimes I could tell you, I'm married, I'm going on 47 years of marriage, a wonderful person. She should be a saint. And sometimes you make mistakes in life, all right? So you're a judge and you may have made a mistake, all right? Because you're just a human being. You thought you're making a right decision, but something happened, you know, and you may have made a mistake. What do you do? Well, you know, have you ever made a mistake as a district magistrate? Maybe a call you made that you thought maybe it wasn't right, and not that it happens a lot, but just seeing the human element part of it. Well, we're all human, right? Let's just say that we're all human, and things that come in front of you, you know, you can see the humanness in it a lot of times. And I think our courts have adapted, probably in the last decade and a half or so, to be able to address
certain variables in people's lives that may have brought them to the justice system. As I indicated, whether that may be a substance abuse issue or some sort of anger issue or a domestic violence issue. And courts have adapted to that. Courts have adapted to kind of treatment programs to be able to address the underlying needs of people that simply make mistakes, that aren't necessarily trying, without a real criminal intent or anything like that. So, every case that comes in front of you is different, but it depends on the facts of the case. Certainly, being fair is across the board, no matter what. There are times when you have to be firm, for sure, and then there are times when you're able to settle matters as well. And I think that's an important part of the job too.
As a judge, you have to work with a lot of law enforcement.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
And what has you been experiencing dealing with law enforcement?
I have been fortunate enough to work with wonderful people across the board. I have had a ton of experience working with law enforcement, with public defenders, with private attorneys, with clerk personnel, court personnel, and we all do our jobs. We all come in and we all do our jobs and do it in a professional way, and that's made for a wonderful experience as a magisterial district judge for me.
Well, you've been a district magistrate for a while, and now you want to move on to Luzerne County Judge. This is your camera right there, Judge Kokura. Tell the viewers why they should vote for Judge Kokura for Luzerne County Judge.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me. And to everyone watching, thank you for allowing me to come into your living rooms today or tonight or whenever the show runs. But the reason I'm running for judge is because I have a deep passion and a love of our community and commitment to the law. I have a ton of experience to bring to that bench, and I want to be able to do that to serve our community. A deep knowledge of the court system and the way it works, an understanding of being fair and impartial, hearing everyone's voice and treating everyone fairly. It's an important position. I would be honored to be able to serve in that position, and I thank you very much for having me here today.
You have a website, right?
We do.
And what is your website?
It's votealexandra.com, and you can find all information there about me and the campaign.
Yeah, and here again, I think it's, as I mentioned to you about, the attorney. I'm sure every one of those attorneys are great.
Sure, absolutely.
But the point is, just seeing a sign or seeing a picture or a nice slogan, to me, it doesn't mean anything unless I know about that person.
Right.
Okay, and I encourage attorneys, a sales pitch here, that they should have, I'm starting a segment called Know Your Lawyer. Okay.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And it's a minute where a lawyer can come on and explain, just so we know who they are. Take care of those two sons.
I will. Thank you very much.
And don't let your husband, you make sure you be the judge and let him be the attorney. Okay?
Very good.
And I wish everybody, I think I applaud anyone who's running for office today, particularly becoming a judge.
Sure,
because you have to make sometimes I'm sure your heart breaks.
Sure.
Because just knowing you now, you have feelings, you have emotions, and sometimes I think people think judges don't have that.
Right, right.
How many times have you left your district magistrate, just hurting inside?
Hey, listen, some of the cases that come across our bench are not the easiest. We've talked about that a little bit, domestic violence or issues involving children and families. You just walk away hoping that you do your very best in making sure that you're providing, justice, for the people that come in front of you. But yeah, sure. I mean, you feel it a little bit,
Well, Alexandra, you have the passion. You have the
Absolutely.
substance. You really, it was nice meeting you. I hear a lot of great things about you. And
Thank
I
you.
wish you and all the people who are running for judgeship the very best. Alexandra
Sam, thank
Kokura,
you.
my pleasure. Judge Kokura, folks, she's wants your vote for Luzerne County Judge. Please go to her website and learn more. Hopefully this show brought some additional information about Alexandra, and you make the decision. We'll see you next time.